There's another, less explored route, asking the judge to give the jury the option of convicting him on lesser misdemeanor offenses instead of felony counts. Phil Holloway, former assistant district attorney and former police officer. So that last one is really, really interesting. You don't hear that out there very much. Could that happen? Could you go from felonies to misdemeanors? And what would that mean for Trump?
Yeah, you can always ask for a lesser included charge. But Harris, speaking of misdemeanors, this case really started out as a minor bookkeeping misdemeanor that the statute of limitations should have run on years ago. But it's Alvin Bragg who is the one that, in my opinion, is being dishonest, because he's taking this misdemeanor and he's bootstrapping, federal election law and trying to call this some type of serious felony fraud, which really is just a bookkeeping issue. And by the way, speaking of fraud, it's another example of a New York prosecution going after Trump where there's no victims. Nobody was harmed by any of this. And by the way, can we stop referring to it as a hush money trial? That implies that there's something sinister, there's something illegal about non-disclosure agreements. They are standard. Wealthy people, prominent people use them all the time. Even Fonnie Willis here in the Fulton DA's office has non-disclosure agreements with people in her office, I'm told. So I wish we would not refer to it as a hush money trial, because that implies that there's something sinister. The bottom line is nobody was hurt. At most, this was a bookkeeping issue. This was something that the statute of limitations, if it was a crime, was expired years ago. And that would even be assuming there was some kind of fraudulent intent by Donald Trump. The bigger question is, can he get a fair trial in New York?
Well, that is a huge question. And we will follow every second of it. The only kind of dangling participle for me in terms of questions is, if the statute of limitations ran out, how are they even doing this? Is there a quick answer to that?
Not really a quick answer, but the bottom line is they're trying to bootstrap federal election law into this. This is the kind of thing that
make it a wider
be allowed
issue.
To be. Yeah, they should be able to take this up on pretrial appeal, because you hate for somebody to stand trial for something if the charges were improperly brought in the first place.
I bet the taxpayers would hate that too. Anyway, critics are calling out Team Biden and the Democratic Party for hypocrisy. It turns out the DNC used campaign funds to pay the president's legal bills in the special counsel's classified documents investigation. Now, we've heard some Biden backers calling out Trump for doing the very same thing. Watch.
We are not spending money on legal bills. We are not hawking gold sneakers or any of that stuff. The money that we are raising, we are going straight to talking to voters.
I'm the biggest cheerleader for Lara Trump. Go, girl, go. Do your thing. Spend all that money on those lawsuits, because the DNC, we're going to be working on supporting the largest voter protection program we've had.
Yeah, but did they use the money? And that whole thing about the sneakers. Oh, stop. The DNC denied footing the bill in a statement today, so they're still talking about this. Quote, "There is no comparison. The DNC does not spend a single penny of grassroots donors' money on legal bills, unlike Donald Trump, who actively solicits legal fees from his supporters and has drawn down every bank account he can to get his hands on, like a personal piggy bank." So they can't do this without mentioning his name, and the scandal's rocking.
Well, look, this seems to me like sort of an admission by the folks that you just heard from in that side of some type of coordinated effort to purposefully run up Donald Trump's legal bills by use of lawfare, with the whole thing about the fraud case in New York. It's almost like they're intentionally trying to run up the man's legal bills so they can make this claim. At the same time, they're doing the same thing for Joe Biden, who, by the way, his lawyers did a great job for him. I hope they get paid every dime, because they are well worth it, to avoid criminal charges related to all the classified documents found in his garage going back to the time when he was in the United States Senate, for crying out loud. Because if ever there was a case that screamed for criminal prosecution, it's that one. And for those lawyers to be able to not get any kind of recommendation for charges out of that conduct, that's brilliant lawyering. They deserve to get paid. And if people want to donate to Donald Trump or Joe Biden, knowing that their money is paying their legal bills, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's be transparent about it, and let's not blame the other side for doing something that you yourself are doing.
Yeah, that is really critical, what you just said about how Biden, according to your legal expertise, got away with it.